Remember, this is the conspiracy guy on Sundays, so I do not have a guest. I'm going to be addressing how the DNC and COVID conspiracy, how Black Lives Matter, Antifa, and the Democratic agenda fit together. I have guests on Tuesday and Thursday on the FETS Presents. What I need to know, however, is that the broadcast is streaming. Can you confirm that? Okay, good. Please confirm in the chat room if you can see the title of the program for today. Oh, okay. Okay, good. As I have already explained, my subject today is the DNC-CV conspiracy, how BLM Antifa and the Democratic agenda fit together. As most of you would know by now, I am a former Marine Corps officer, retired university professor. I have two dozen plus academic publications, a dozen plus books in the area of conspiracy theory, including JFK, 9/11, Wellstone, Sandy Hook, the Boston bombing, and more. Most of my conspiracy books are found at moonrockbooks.com, where, believe it or not, of the 12 books I have published there, or that we have published at Moonrock Books, 6 that I have edited have been banned by Amazon.com. Nobody died at Sandy Hook, and I suppose we didn't go to the moon either, and nobody died in Boston either. From Orlando to Dallas and beyond, political theater in Charlottesville, and the Parkland puzzle, how the pieces fit together. Stunning. I believe this is the indoor record. Meanwhile, as I have been explaining repeatedly, scientific reasoning involves 4 steps or stages. This is something you must understand. Puzzlement. Something doesn't fit into your background knowledge and experience. Speculation. What are the possible alternative explanations of what has taken place? Adaptation. What are the probabilities of the available evidence on the alternatives? Explanation. When the evidence has settled down, we are entitled to accept the best supported hypothesis as true in the tentative infallible fashion of science. Now, to contrast my approach with that of Alex Jones, with whom most of you will be familiar, Alex is very good at the first two stages of scientific reasoning, puzzlement and speculation, which is all to the good. However, if you want to go further and discern how the hypotheses fit the evidence and which are the best supported, much less when the evidence is settled down and you're entitled to accept the best supported hypothesis, you need to go elsewhere, such as, to me, the conspiracy guy, because that's what I do. I specialize in bringing together groups of experts to sort out fact from fiction, to discover whether we're dealing with reality or delusion, especially by sorting out the difference between the authentic evidence and the fake. Trump talks a great deal about fake news. Well, of course, he's 100% correct about that, as this case tonight is going to substantiate. But I'm talking about fake theories about what really happened, which tend to be the official narratives, whether we're talking about JFK, 9/11, Wellstone, Sandy Hook, the Boston bombing, or even the moon landing. So, what I'm going to explain here, we have been played for suckers and saps. Let me mention, by the way, before I go further, I want you to put questions in the chat in caps so they're easier to identify. And then toward the end, I will look for your questions and do my best to respond to them. Now, many of you have watched my previous presentations, for example, on the coronavirus phenomenon, whether it's a medical emergency or a political pandemic. And of course, you will know that I explain why it's based on manufactured evidence that cannot withstand critical scrutiny, that it appears to be fake. Well, now, as recently as today, we have further confirming evidence that we have been played for suckers and saps. The CDC has now announced a positive result for the CV test means you've had a cold. The common cold virus, as I've explained before, is in the same family as the COVID-19 virus. Just think about shutting down the economy over the common cold. And most Black Americans don't want fewer police, they want more. Here's a very nice piece from IntelliHub. CDC admits COVID-19 positive result just means you previously contracted the common cold. A positive result means you have antibodies from an infection with a virus from the same family of viruses called coronaviruses as the one that causes the common cold. What do your results mean? This is right from the CDC itself. If you test positive, a positive test result shows you may have antibodies from an infection with a virus that causes COVID-19. However, there is a chance a positive result means that you have antibodies from an infection with a virus from the same family of viruses called coronaviruses, such as the one that causes the common cold. Meaning, just because you have positive, it doesn't mean there's anything serious going on. Most of us would test positive because we have antibodies from having had the common cold. But this substantiates the result of Dr. Stolan Alexov, president of the Bulgarian Pathology Association, who declares, startlingly enough, no one has died from the coronavirus. A high-profile European pathologist is reporting he and his colleagues across Europe have not found any evidence of any deaths from the novel coronavirus on that continent. Dr. Stolan Alexov called the World Health Organization a criminal medical organization for creating worldwide fear and chaos without providing objectively verifiable proof of a pandemic. Another stunning revelation from the Bulgarian Pathology Association president is that he believes it's currently impossible to create a vaccine against the virus. He also revealed that European pathologists haven't identified any antibodies that are specific to SARS-CoV-2. This has been previously reported. To wit, there is no test to specifically identify that you have SARS-CoV-2, which is supposed to be the toxic pathogen that is causing all these deaths, which appear to be fabricated by and large for reasons that I have presented before but will review again. Meanwhile, the majority of Black Americans don't back Black Lives Matter's push to abolish the police. Any anti-racist movement that disregards how working and middle-class African Americans define and pursue the good life is not worth its name. If you listen to mainstream news media and Democrat politicians, African Americans are united behind the radical group BLM, but multiple polls are telling a different story. One of the chief claims of BLM and its supporters is police are ruthlessly targeting Black Americans and that law enforcement must be defunded and abolished. The group's organizers consider themselves abolitionists and have vowed to abolish prisons. I mean, look, think about it. You're going to let criminals run rampant. You're not going to have any law enforcement to enforce the law. You're not going to incarcerate criminals. You're going to turn this into a haven for crime and criminality, including not just looting and riots, but rape and murder. Think about it. This is about as idiotic agenda as one could conceive. Here's their stance. The prison industrial complex routinely targets and harms Black people, immigrants, disabled people, sex workers, queer and transgender people, and poor people, according to a statement on Rewire News. But do peaceful, non-Marxist revolutionaries and the broader African-American community believe that the police are engaged in systemic violence and torture against Black people? Not if you ask them, which no one in the media seems to be doing. This now is the author, Javen Fortner, Michael Javen Fortner, a Black liberal, author of Black Silent Majority, The Rockefeller Drug Laws and the Politics of Punishment. A 2019 Pew survey showed 44% of Blacks reported being unfairly stopped by police because of their race, though 54% said no, has not happened to me. 44% of African American residents said they or an immediate family member has felt harassed by police, but the majority did not share that view. Asked how satisfied are you with the job your local police department does, 21% said very satisfied, 51% somewhat satisfied, 12% said somewhat dissatisfied. Well, 51 and 21 is 72%, or either very satisfied or somewhat satisfied with the police. Only 5% said they were very dissatisfied. And we've already reported how Blacks in Harlem thought dismantling the police would be suicide for Blacks. As we've explained before, there are more Black-on-Black killings than any other category. White on white and Black on white are also far higher and more frequent than white on Black. White on Black killings are relatively rare. I would say Black on Black occur like 500 times more often than white on Black. So we're being played from the beginning. They have now redefined how to count cases. If you test positive, they count anyone in contact with you as positive. And since you're on the average in contact with around 17 more persons, they've just multiplied the number of cases by 17. They do not distinguish between having the virus and really being sick. This is an example of the elementary fallacy of ambiguity or equivocation, which I spent 35 years teaching undergraduate students how to avoid. Even Trump observes that our testing success is being used against us. So my screen is freezing. Let me see what I can do here. Fascinating. This is going to be a challenge if I cannot proceed with the slides. I have, as before, 133 slides for you tonight, some of which are extremely telling. So this is rather fascinating. Let me see here. It looks to me like I may have to reboot. I'm terribly sorry to say. I will be back at my earliest. I will come right back. So stick around or come back, but I see no other way around it.